is Brendan Davis from the Bedrock Games and the Bedrock blog. And I got a new computer, and I'm trying to work out any kinks in the video recording here. But if you notice, this looks a little different than some of the other videos, just because I'm still working through the new camera and trying to set it up properly. The holidays are coming up, so I'm going to try to keep this one a little bit quick. I have a lot of things that I've been doing. But I wanted to talk about some Michelle Yeoh movies over the course of the next month or so. And so I'm going to begin with Yes, Madam, which is available on Blu-ray. I think this is Fortune Star put this one out. It's definitely worth picking up. I don't think it's that expensive, and the image quality is really good. It stars Michelle Yeoh and Cynthia Rothrock, and it was directed by Cory Yuen, who also worked on the Legend movies with Jet Li, and has been an actor and an action director and a director. So he's been in a bunch of stuff. But this one's notable because it's Michelle Yeoh's first starring role. It's also the first in the Line of Duty film series, which I think has about 4 movies, and it kind of kicked off a subgenre of Hong Kong action movie called Girls with Guns. So it's notable for a bunch of reasons. The reason that I want to talk about it is mainly because of Michelle Yeoh, but also Cynthia Rothrock, who I think this was her first starring role as well. And I believe when they selected her for the film, they were actually looking for a male for that role before, but once she auditioned, they decided to go with her anyways. And it ended up being a really good choice because together they really had a lot of chemistry, and they both are really great physical performers. Cynthia Rothrock has a extensive martial arts background, and Michelle Yeoh, from what I read, she worked out like 8 hours a day in preparation for this role, and I'm not 100% sure on this, but I'm pretty sure she did all or most of her stunts in this movie. And there are some pretty dangerous looking ones in it. So it's a great Hong Kong action film, and it came out I think in '85. Michelle Yeoh was in a couple of movies before that, but she wasn't in starring roles. So if you've ever seen Twinkle Twinkle Lucky Star with Sammo Hung and Jackie Chan, she was in that. And there was another movie that she was in prior to that, with still not a lead role. And this is her first lead role. And the film is basically about, she plays a police detective, and there's a man that she knows who was murdered, and there's this group of criminals that are kind of like the humor in the movie. They're sort of the comic relief, and it's a group of 3 guys, and one of them is played by Shui Hark, and they just sort of like 2 big criminals that are like forgers and thieves, and they sneak into the guy's hotel room after he's been killed and steal his stuff, and they accidentally get their hands on a microfilm, which was the whole reason that he was killed in the first place. And so the assassin that tries to kill him and the crime boss the assassin that killed him and the crime boss that sent him are spending the rest of the movie trying to get their hands on this microfilm, which these criminals have, and they use the passport that the guy had to create a forged passport, and then that connects Michelle Yeoh and Cynthia Rothrock's character to the criminals, and then it's kind of like a MacGuffin chase. So I don't want to give too much of the plot away. It's a fairly straightforward sort of cop versus really ridiculous villain, and all around this microfilm that the villain wants to destroy because it incriminates him in some kind of illegal real estate deal. They don't really get into specifics. They leave it pretty general. Sammo Hung produced the film, and he has a nice cameo in a nursing home that's really funny, and he's kind of the mentor to the sort of the 3 comic criminals, and it's just a really fun movie. That the action is great, the fight scenes are great. It's got a lot of really sort of comedic elements to it, so it's there's a lot of slapstick in the action choreography, and it's just a nice balance between the fight scenes with the criminals are all kind of funny, and Michelle Yeoh and Cynthia Rothrock scenes are a little bit more serious, and it's very typical mid 80s action movie stuff. So there's a sort of that blend of guns, chase scenes, and fighting, and it's really interesting to see Michelle Yeoh in this role, since it's her first big role, and just how impressive she is in it, and how impressive Cynthia Rothrock is in it, and and the rest of the cast is also really strong. Again, I don't want to give too much away, but for me, the some of the key moments are the airport scene, the nursing home scene, and and the final battle in the end, which I think is a really well done, high energy, fight sequence. So I would recommend checking this movie out if you've seen, either Cynthia Rothrock or Michelle Yeoh in any of their later movies, and are just curious, uh, you know, uh, about their earlier roles. Is a really strong film. It started a whole subgenre, so I mean, it definitely is a good movie on its own, and it launched a whole series of films. I'm going to be doing another review of the second film in the series, because I think that's a really good one, and I want to talk about that on its own. But I just wanted to kind of get on and talk a little bit about Yes Madam. Again, it's 1985. Yes Madam. It's available on Blu-ray. I know you can't really read the title too well on this one. I think it's also on DVD. You got to sometimes be careful though. When I talk about the sequel, I'll get into this, because I actually there for the sequel I have two different DVDs, and one of them really looks good, one of them looks awful. And as far as I know, the awful one isn't a pirated version; it's just a really awful version of it. So you got to be careful when you buy these sometimes, because the one, if you get the wrong DVD or the wrong Blu-ray, it can really mean the difference between having like a horrible hue of blue over the screen the whole time, or just a really grainy, poorly restored version, versus one that looks really nice and sounds really nice. So I recommend this one because it looks good, it sounds good. Again, it's 85, so the music and everything is dated, but I thought it's a great movie, and I think it really shows why Michelle Yeoh is the star that she became. So check it out if you haven't seen it. It's probably available on Amazon. I'll try to find a link and see if I can. That's my alarm, so I gotta go. I will talk to you later.